Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of freedomin5minutes.com and prosulum.com. And we're here again with another Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode. Today's topic is this: building an automated e-commerce business with Irina Poddubnaia. That and more coming up. All right, guys. I am super excited about this topic because this is something that was and still is really near and dear to my heart. For those who are just new to the podcast, yes, I have a whole business with virtual systems architects and outsourcing and all that other stuff. But what you probably didn't know, this entire business was actually built upon the back of a dropshipping e-commerce business that I had that did seven figures over the span of a couple of years. And the thing about this business is that while it's one of those really sexy, really amazing business models, if you do it right, it's actually really difficult if you don't have the right tools. And when you do have the right tools, it can be a dream, but without it, it can be an absolute nightmare. So that's why I'm super excited to have Irina here from TrackMage.com. TrackMage is an absolutely amazing piece of software that I wish I had during the time that I was doing my dropshipping stuff. So that being said, I'd love to introduce you guys to Irina with TrackMage.com. So Irina, how are you doing? Welcome.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Dean. So I'm very excited to talk about this topic. It's not just because I made this software, but it's because I had a very long history attached to this topic. Well, I've done everything manually, and I remember how tedious that is. Like, that's the routine that's going to suck your soul out if you if you don't automate. That's the thing.
Yeah, and this is why it was funny, because when we did our little pre-interview before, as we were talking, it brought back so many memories of things that I had that I had no way of, like, when I first got into drop shipping and e-commerce in general, they everyone paints this big picture of, oh, it's so easy and you can do it from your laptop and everything. But what people fail to tell you is that, yeah, that's fine for the first couple items and couple things that you're selling, but as it grows, it becomes almost like one person can't do it, and then even if you're hiring people, it becomes a nightmare. So it's so amazing what you're building.
There is a thing that I noticed with all the e-commerce like boss courses or like e-com whatever course, they always talk about marketing, branding, product research, whatever else. But then, like, it's almost like the happily ever after. And once you found the product, then you live happily ever after. And they don't even touch on the fulfillment side, the shipping, customer support, all the other stuff that comes back and bites you if you don't handle it correctly.
Yeah, and that's where it gets to be where it's if you really get that down, it really can be a business that's awesome, that can scale into 7, 8, 9 figures or possibly even more. So, like, how did you even, so first off, little history about yourself. How did you come to even create TrackMage, which I'm excited to get into, and as people start hearing, they're going to kind of come into our world of understanding why this is super, super needed. So a little bit about how you even got into even building.
Yeah. Okay. So at some point in my career, I got bitten by an entrepreneurial bug, and I wanted to start my own business because I thought that I understood everything about international shipping or even just selling products. To gain the extra edge, we went to China with my husband, and we wanted to start a business there because we had this impression that we could find cheaper products and like better products than anywhere else in the world. We even had this pipe dream of finding a cheaper iPhone, which doesn't exist. So yeah, that's what we were after. And when we went for this opportunity, we ended up in China with a warehouse, packaging boxes, shipping goods from like of various kinds. So we were selling everything like electronics, clothes, whatever else the retailers wanted to sell in their stores.
Yeah.
And we had to deal with all the downsides of the business and all the tedious routine stuff like following up with suppliers and making sure that they actually send the goods on time. Then also sending the goods to the customers and making sure that the customers are going to wait patiently for the 2 weeks or more that it takes to deliver goods from China. And then dealing with all kinds of fires and shenanigans that happen in this process, because that's exactly what you don't really expect to happen. Yep. Like how complex that would be. Like you buy the goods from the supplier, they ship you the goods, and then you resend it to the customers. Like there isn't anything that could go wrong on paper, but in reality, a lot of things can go wrong.
That's exactly what I experienced when I started drop shipping, because it seems so easy. And when I had my first wholesaler, like it was fine with one. I had a weight lift. I know people who sell these products, so I won't say the supplier name, but okay. I was drop shipping these like weight sets, like barbells and things like that. And having one supplier was fine, and emailing back and forth, and I sold predominantly on Amazon, and so when I had one supplier, I can tell they would let me know via email when it got sent out, so then I can go and click the thing in Amazon saying, hey, this got sent out, and then they'll do the little tracking and stuff like that. But as I started getting 2, 3, 4, 5, 30 suppliers, it became completely unmanageable. It became unmanageable at 3 suppliers. Because
we have noticed once one of the customer businesses, they were dealing with a Chinese supplier where they literally sent them an Excel spreadsheet with all the goods that were shipped, and then they started checking the prices, and there was always some kind of discrepancy, and then they followed up with the supplier, and those mistakes were fixed, and then the actual retailer asked me, like, why would they do that? Like, because you were not checking, that's why. Like
totally. And so it just becomes an absolute nightmare, which is great, because like for what you do with TrackMage, like so for me, my problem was always things like that. They would send me either an Excel spreadsheet or email of things that have been shipped. Then my guys could go and punch it in or whatever. But sometimes my guy, like there would be, let's say 20 orders, and 12 got shipped, 8 hadn't got shipped yet. And things would sometimes I would have it to where things were happening so fast that my guys wouldn't catch that things weren't getting shipped off from the suppliers and all this other stuff. And so I had to use software back in the day to even do what I was doing, but it was antiquated compared to what you have. So like what's the current for somebody who's right now has, let's just say, like their own store platform, not on Amazon or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like what is the overarching thing that TrackMage allows your clients, your customers to do to build this automated e-commerce dream business?
Hmm. So there are two parts to it. There is the marketing side that communicates with the customer, that lets them know where the package is and make sure that they don't ask this dreaded question like, where is my order?
Mm-hmm.
This is where you cut the customer support costs, and you don't have to answer that many repetitive questions.
Yep.
Because most of the time, these are the questions that customers ask if we don't receive the information proactively.
Yep.
And then there is the fulfillment side, the operations side, where you can see which packages were not yet shipped. You can track where there is a problem before the customer actually notices, before you have a problem on your hands or a refund from a customer who's waiting for too long. This is why we have two counters, at least in the system, that help with that. So what we noticed is that even then the supplier provides you the tracking number, sometimes the tracking number is not trackable. And then they have some kind of excuse like, oh, we mixed it up with something else, or it was fake from the very beginning. Like we just don't tell you why, but we will send you another tracking number if you're fortunate. If you're unfortunate, we're just going to say that it's shipped, and then you have to wait. And in that case, what you could do is if you're using some platform like AliExpress or some other platform where you can issue a refund request, that's what you should do. And you can buy from another supplier so that you mitigate that kind of delay in delivery.
Yeah.
What you tell the customer is a different story. You just tell them that oh, we had some kind of issue at the warehouse, and your order is going to be shipped right now again, so you will receive the notifications. So TrackMage basically covers both sides, and still it's everything that happens after the purchase. Just to give you an example of what happens on the customer side is that, remember how on Amazon, when you order a product, there is a page that tells them the estimated delivery date, then shows them how the package is traveling to their destination, also asks for a review at the end, and also pushes some additional products that they can buy. But unfortunately, those products, they can become they can belong to other retailers, not yours. Yeah.
Yep.
So we provide this functionality, but for Shopify, WooCommerce, and ClickFunnels and other tools that integrate with Zapier as well. So we have two very robust integrations with ClickFunnels. With Shopify and WooCommerce. Everything else is through automation that you can hook up with Zapier.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome, especially with dealing with like suppliers from AliExpress and stuff like that. There's so many things that happen with those suppliers. It's awesome that you have that on the customer side once something's actually shipped, where it tells the customers that where it's at. Because even with Amazon, this is one of the reasons why I would actually have issues with Amazon sometimes, is where yes, they have a thing where you can enter in the tracking number, you can use their API to put the tracking number and all that other stuff. But they still didn't have that, where it really let the customer know where it is in the process. It'll say that it even now when I order off of Amazon, it will say, here's your order. It'll let me know if it's going to come early, but it's not necessarily going to say, it's shipped, it's doing this. Not all the time, for whatever reason, I don't know. And maybe this was just back in the day. And that would be a pain in the butt for me, because I would actually get customers, not me personally, but my team would get customers saying, hey, I would always have this long window for my dropshipping products, so I wouldn't get dinged by Amazon. But the customers would still obviously want to know where the package is and stuff like that. And so that alone is super valuable for the customer to know where the heck is my package and when, where is it at in the process. So
it is. It's just another thing that if you are selling not through Amazon, but you have your own store and you have the customer's email, there is this communication gap that you can fill in with additional touches from the brand. So what TrackMage does is it sends emails about the whereabouts of the package while it's traveling. And what it prevents is the issue of customer actually getting anxious and refunding the purchase before they receive it. Yeah. And another thing that it prevents is that the customers, they actually see additional products while we're waiting for the order. It's not just prevention; it's an opportunity. And what we've seen is that from 5 to 10% of the entire shipping volume, they convert to the second purchase before even receiving the first one.
I can totally see that too, because like I get these like I'll get like bracelets and stuff like that, like these, and if when I order something like this and I'm like, and I know I want a lot of them, or I want because these are probably, I have like 6 or 7 on my arm. If I were to see, I don't have those ones, I don't have those, I would totally get those and add to my repertoire, especially even these like little gold chains that I got from online store. Like they're not real, but they I like getting multiples of those. So if I saw in the tracking the same type of thing as that very related item, that is really cool.
Yeah. Well, and it definitely works. Previously, when the sliders were static, with the products just being there and the customer having to click the button, it wasn't as effective. But once we introduced the animation, the products they just travel at like some delay, and the customers, they just have to watch. Like, oh, I like that one. Oh, I like that one as well. And yeah, the conversion definitely was increased as soon as we introduced the slider.
I love that. And that's really cool. Just, I mean, what an automated, cool way to upsell or cross sell products that you have, and they're going to see that, every step, every email that they get where it's telling where the product is, they're going to say, and you're selling, you're not being a pest. You're not like, hey.
Yes, exactly. It's not perceived as marketing. It's perceived as transactional emails. That's why the open rate is close to 60%. Still, like the tracking of open rates is very tedious subject, because most of the email clients currently were cutting the pixels or something like that. But still, the open rate is unheard of. So like every time there is an update about my order, like I click it. Like I don't really mind reading that email. But what I'm not expecting is that the brand is going to be upselling or inviting me to social media or like presenting some special offers, and then that's a conversion out of the gate.
That open rate is, I mean, and like you said, no, the pixel doesn't always fire on letting the software know if that's actual open rate or not, which I would imagine it's actually higher than 60% if that's the case.
Yeah.
But 60% open rate on an email nowadays that's nuts. I'm gonna go to one of my campaigns real quick from my active campaign. I think the average open rate on just like my normal emails that go out to people, I'm guessing like 12% open rate. Let's see. Okay, so this one was a good one. So this is 20%, and that's like a good open rate. 60% is unheard of, because they're opening it to find out where their package is, and then they're like, oh, and you're adding value to them with products that are very similar,
Yeah.
That is
so awesome. This is the interesting part about customers. So if the customer didn't receive that information, 2 of the things could happen. Some of the dropshipping businesses are counting on one outcome, not the other. So the first outcome would be the customer would forget that they ordered something. And then like in a month or so, we will find the package. You're like, oh, yeah, I ordered that. But then there is another case where the customer is just like eagerly waiting, sending you a customer support request, You reply to them, or you don't reply because you are counting on them forgetting. And then the customer just gets like anxious, more anxious, and they refund the purchase and they never buy from you again, or they don't want to hear from the brand.
Totally.
So yeah. Totally. So it's one or the other.
Oh, I love that. The other thing that it's funny, like I never would think of these things, but it makes a huge difference is the validation of emails. A lot of clients, a lot of customers will put in the wrong email, or it'll be like slightly off or whatever. Like,
yeah. So, like Gmape or Gmol. Like we've seen it all. Yeah.
And I actually have to have with my stuff, I have to have my team go in and manually check. And obviously, like, I'm not doing an e-commerce in the product sense, but more of a service sense. And it gets annoying because it happens quite a bit, and that's huge to have that as like a check, you know.
By the way, funny idea. You could use the validation script from TrackMage without even shipping any products. That's going to be absolutely free in this case. You can just put it on your opt-in forms, or maybe some checkouts where you're using it, and it's going to validate if that email actually exists. This problem was discovered when we started working with Metal Family. They have a YouTube channel, and they are creating their own animated series without any funding externally. So they don't have a studio backing them up. So they're completely independent creators. So what they ran into when they were selling their own comic books is that every third email had a typo. And after the customer pays, and when they made a typo, they don't receive any even order confirmation. Like they are very anxious, and they are very upset even. So that's why they started reaching out to the brand on their YouTube channel, in the comments and on social media, and then in like mailboxes all over the place. Like, and since they had this amazing conversion, so they printed the first batch of 10,000 units of a comic book, and they were thinking that they're going to sell it in a couple of months. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it was sold in less than a week. And then they had to process all those orders and ship them out. And they were dealing with the influx of like 15,000 people asking, where is my comic book? I didn't receive an email notification. Like, what's going on? And that was like so overwhelming. They even created an animated video, which we translated and we're going to post soon. Yeah. Animated video describing this process and what we had to go through in the backend. Just scolding the customers, like, don't make typos in the emails. Like, if you make a typo in the email, we will not be able to help.
Man, but the customer is not going to know, you know, like the average customer is obviously not going to know that. And they're going to type in their thing. They're not going to receive anything. They're going to feel like I either got scammed or like, yeah, man, you guys have bad customer service. And that's a big.
We noticed that the customers, but like the first wording was like, it's invalid email, please enter a valid email. Like, people were still obnoxiously like hitting the submit button like 7 times. When we changed the word, they're like, oh, maybe there is a typo. Did you mean gmail.com? And then like, cool. That reduced like the number of tries from 7 to 2. Like, oh yeah, there's a typo. I think so.
That's cool. That's funny. That's so cool. Yeah, no, these are like the little things that make such a huge difference from an operation standpoint. So from the other side of things, from more of the supplier tracking side of things, how many different, so AliExpress, like when I was drop shipping, I'd have multiple suppliers. How can that work with TrackMage?
So if you are working with suppliers through email and through those CSV files, that's like you can streamline the process with TrackMage. You can literally invite your supplier to a specific workspace where you will track all the shipments from them, and they will see those shipments and you will see those shipments at the same time.
Cool.
So this way you can collaborate with your supplier. But there is another way. If your supplier for whatever reason doesn't want to collaborate through the system, you can ask them to send you the CSV file, and then you just import that CSV file to TrackMage, and everything gets outdated automatically. The only thing that you will have to do manually is just in the CSV file, put the order number next to the tracking number. But most of the suppliers already do that for you. So you just need to rename the fields and import, and then in one click, basically your entire history gets updated, and all the customers, they get emails about the whereabouts of the package, and then you see all those packages with statuses and you can track them.
That's cool. So I used to use a software. It was called Spark Shipping that did that. It was not as easy as that, and even if I got a CSV, I could never invite my suppliers, the suppliers I was using would have loved to have something like that where they can see what has gone out and what like from my side and my where we can both see. And the just having the ability to import like that is huge, because like just the doing like my guys at first had to do everything manually, and then doing it via email sucks. When you just get like email notifications stuff, you could use like Zapier, like parser if everything is always the same, but to get that CSV file and then to have your actual suppliers be able to see, and then if something's wrong or something, you could say, hey, log in and check this thing or whatever, that's pretty big. How often do you have suppliers who are actually willing to do that? You have clients like a lot of them do that?
Well, I would say that it just depends on the supplier. So sometimes we just don't want to change their ways, or we don't want to collaborate. But if you're working with a small supplier that they don't have their own app, they just work with Excel spreadsheets or CSV files, they will be thrilled to use something that's more automated. Like as long as it loads, as long as it works for them, because sometimes there are challenges with Chinese firewall. So that's why we had to introduce some like workarounds for that as well.
Yeah.
Right. One thing that also we introduced is that once you enter the tracking number for multiple shipments, if you make a mistake, for example, whereas this tracking number that gets applied to two orders, one is going to Belgium, the other one to Bulgaria, and then you just like, oh, okay, there is a notification like, okay, probably there is a mistake, because like it cannot be traveling in two different directions at the same time.
Yeah. That's cool. That's good. Now, that's kind of cool, because you also, because you can have like the actual suppliers could use it if they didn't have their own app.
Yeah,
they could actually just use this for tracking their own stuff to wherever they're shipping to. Like, do you have suppliers do that? Like, for example, like I'm kind of thinking, like if a supplier is literally just doing everything via Excel spreadsheet, they could probably even just use this rather than use an Excel spreadsheet. They can see where they shipped off everything like that for all of their retailers and stuff.
Yes, that's why we work with wholesalers, and they are our best customers, to tell the truth, because they have a lot of packages, and that's exactly what TrackMage wants. So with wholesalers, they have additional functionality like wholesale tracking pages, where it's not just one package that gets tracked, but all those hundreds that belong to a single order, or cool. Whatever grouping criteria you select. because tracking pages, they are very flexible. You can mix and match, like what do you want to display, what do you not want to display. And for wholesalers, it's important to, instead of just sending those Excel spreadsheets all the time, because again, updating the Excel spreadsheets is a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
Because you never know like what the history was. Even if you use Google spreadsheets where you see the changes, it's still very tedious to manage.
Yeah, it's not like an actual database where you can that'd be super tedious. That is freaking cool for wholesalers, actually. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if I was a wholesaler and I had 100 retailers out there, like that would make my life so easy.
Yeah. And then again, with wholesalers, sometimes when they are just starting the business, there aren't that many packages. That's why we have a forever free plan with like 100 orders that you can process per month. And that's how you can seamlessly start in dropshipping as well. So you don't have to pay upfront. Like once you reach some sort of profitability, steady sales, that's when you start.
Yeah, and then the whole company is being built by you are like giving so much value ahead of time. They're building their company, and then when it's profitable, then you're like, okay, cool, now you can start paying. And that's one of the big barriers to starting any type of business, but starting a drop shipping business especially, is that if you're paying for a bunch of software up front and you don't even know if it's going to work yet, or if you're drop shipping your product's going to sell or whatever, like how cool is that to be able to put up your Shopify store, get your suppliers, use TrackMage for free, start making that $100 or 100 sales a month, and then cool, your product's working, your business is working, and now you're able to start scaling and stuff. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And another thing would be that since you are going to be using the software, you will not have to do as much manually, but as you would have had to. Because again, with so many moving pieces, like keeping track of all the packages, following up with suppliers, following up with the customers, replying to those like incoming requests, then dealing with I don't know, like negative customer reviews, maybe. Mm-hmm. Because another big part of TrackMage is that it collects reviews.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, tell me about that, because that's especially when you're doing any type of paid advertising and somebody's coming to your your actual sales page, and you already have like a ton of reviews. That is a huge social proof. How does the reviews work with that?
Yeah. So since TrackMage is optimized to work with businesses that actually ship physical goods, we have automation that asks for a review at the very point when they receive the package, like the very time when the customer gets the status delivered. So once the package gets delivered, TrackMage asks for a review. And if the review is positive, the store can leverage that on product pages to drive additional conversions. Or if a review is negative, the store can actually reach out to the customer and ask what went wrong, and maybe troubleshoot, like, is it the carrier who failed? Is it the supplied product that wasn't matching the expectations? Or was it something else that the customer was expecting and wasn't there? So reviews are a very good indicator for the business, like if you're doing well, you're not doing well, where you can. And again, we're working on the functionality where the positive reviews can be shared on social media, so that you can get extra sales from just that, sharing goodwill.
I love this. Sorry, I already know somebody for one of my clients that I'm already letting know that they need this. He sells these really nice actual gold, like necklaces, rings, things like that for women. who want to invest, but they into like gold and stuff, especially now with inflation over here in the United States. And it's just a way for them to hold on to their wealth. And this is so perfect for what he's doing right now, man. This is I have to. So anyway, I already just letting him know.
Well, I guess like my only regret right now with TrackMage is that I wasn't investing that much into creating the courses or some training materials, because like when you log into the system, like it's not very straightforward how to work with it. But I'm going to bridge that gap very soon with all the informational products that we're working on.
No, the cool thing is like with somebody who's selling knows. Even just I mean, it might obviously UI and user experience is one thing, but I remember when I was using some of the software tools that I had to use, a lot of them were clunky and whatever, but I already knew that they solved a specific problem, so I did whatever I could to actually make it happen. So it's not, I mean, if somebody, to me, the user interface on TrackMage is pretty amazing. So way better than something I can do. So it's awesome. The yeah, I think probably like this is gonna be a curveball question.
All right.
And obviously don't give any like secrets away or anything like that of any of your clients or whatever. But have you ever had really really cool success stories, like one that you're like super proud of?
Well, I guess I could still mention that metal family, chaos that we had to deal with. So the first thing we had was the failure at the checkout when the email was entered incorrectly, and like the third of those emails were going to spam or like undelivered. Those emails, like warning, we cannot deliver because that email does not exist. And they had almost banned their account on the autoresponder they were using because the bounce rate was so high.
Yeah.
So with that, we fixed that, and then it just like disappeared completely. Like 100% of emails are getting to the proper inboxes. The second thing that we fixed is that they were using the untracked post services, and those services were literally delivered to the post offices, and the customers didn't even receive a notification from the post services. Yeah. So they had around 1,000 shipments chilling out in those post offices, but where nobody was coming and collecting them in time. And some of them even returned back, and they had to buy them. Yeah.
Wait, that's the way it is here. Like if I didn't know a package came, because I live out in the country, and if it's a bigger package that can't fit in our like mailbox here, it will sit at the post office, and it's up to the post office to write a little note, put it in our mailbox, and so on. So that doesn't always happen. And so to get a notification saying something like it's been delivered, but it's that's huge. And I've had that happen many times.
Right. So that's what we fixed for them. And from 1,000 shipments chilling in those post offices, it went to only 45 rolling average because they get collected all the time. So then the last part, the bit, like the cherry on top, was that we collected the reviews. From 10,000 shipments, we collected 2,150 reviews. And predominantly all of them were positive, and some of them were like War and Peace length, just because the customers, they love this product, they love the merchandise, and they want to support the creators. And that's how those reviews, we were just like glaringly staring at us and like just saying like 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars.
So they sold was it 15,000 of those?
I believe by now it's close to 30,000 because that was just the initial drop of the comic books. Like, so the original comic book was only 10,000 units, and then they had to print extra, and they are also selling other merchandise. like pins, notebooks, some, I don't know, stickers. So all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm just looking at like the review percentage, because that's like close to 20%.
Yes,
And
because
that's
it was very timed.
yeah,
So when the customer receives the package, when they open it, like they have this like, oh my God,
yeah,
finally I
like,
received
oh,
it. And then you just capitalize on that excitement that they want to share, and they share that through the reviews.
that is so cool.
Mm.
These are like the small things that are not small, that makes, to get 20% of like 20% the review rate.
Yeah, like
That,
every fifth customer left a review. Let's say that. So it's
yeah,
1 out of 5.
that's
But then again, most of the businesses, they miss out on this opportunity altogether because we don't ask for reviews for
yeah,
whatever reason. They
yeah,
just don't.
yeah. No, it's true. It's just it's something that just it's either not automated, or yeah, like even in service businesses, like mine, I actually have my guys ask for a review, but that's part of like my system, and it's manual, and I have to trust that they're going to do it, and so on and so forth. So it's doesn't always happen. And so
Mm.
but it's super, like, to come to a page and say, hey, read our 2,517 positive reviews. It's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get that product. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
um
So with TrackMage, what will also allow is that you can repurpose reviews, so you can export them and then use them on other pages. And if the reviews are negative, you don't have to.
yeah,
You just don't have to. Like, it's not something that. So TrackMage is working on the side of retailers and wholesalers, so it doesn't want to like spread the negative reviews. But
yeah,
then again, address those reviews, reach out to those customers, because they can not only leave a review on TrackMage, but they can also leave a review on social media, and then you will have to deal with all that stuff.
but even if you have a large amount of positive reviews and you have a small amount of negative, it's credibility still, like, because it's kind of like
Yes.
you're always going to have those people. I'm always checking if I see 2,000 positive reviews and like 17 negative. I'm like, yeah, you're never going to please everybody. I think this is legit, like,
Yeah.
type thing. So, but no, I love that.
Well, actually, you have a point there, because again, those reviews, they are also boosting the credibility. Like, okay, we're not faking it. Like,
Yeah,
all those reviews, they're there.
totally.
And sometimes those reviews are even funny. Like, okay, like the post office messed up with delivery. Like,
Totally.
Why would you blame the store for that? Like,
I would get things like that on Amazon all the time, like where the seller, because you have the seller reviews and you have the actual product reviews. On the seller reviews, it says something like the product didn't clean my hair the way it said it was going to. I'm like, that's a seller. That has nothing to do with me. That's more of the, like, this is supposed to be, did you get it on time? Did you do it? And then vice versa. If it's a product review, they're like, oh, it didn't get there on time. It got here too early or something. And I'm like, whatever.
yeah. So also for like more of an enterprise level, or like when you are already selling a lot of products, you can also optimize your cost of carriers, like with the carriers. You can monitor which carrier for which destination is working best, like where do we have the failures, and then you show them those reports and say like, okay, guys, how about we get a discount this month?
Yeah, that's cool.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. And that makes a huge difference too. Just especially when you're dealing with a lot that's eating up your margins. And so
Yeah.
I love it. I love
I
it.
just remembered about one other obscure case where the carriers sometimes they repurpose the tracking numbers. So let's say your customer received the package 3 months ago. and then they, for some reason, file a refund request on PayPal. If you go to the carrier website, you see zero information, like that the package ever existed or it traveled or something like that. But in TrackMage, you still have a cached version, and you can present it to PayPal or other payment providers that, like, okay, it was legitly delivered, like it traveled from this destination to this destination, and you don't have to deal with just like unfair customers.
I love that. That's cool. That's cool. Hey, well, Irina, how can people find out more about TrackMage?
The best would be to come to trackmage.com and see the website. And also we have presence on most of the social media platforms. So you can even find us on TikTok. So yeah, so TrackMage is there. And that's what I think the best would be to just even Google TrackMage, and you will see all the places. So if you have a Shopify store, or if you have a WooCommerce store, you can find us on Shopify apps marketplace, and you can find us in WordPress.org marketplace. Yeah, just literally type it into your search bar in your plugins, like in your WordPress website, and then like TrackMage, and it's going to show up. You can install it, no problem.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, the thing I love most is the freemium. Is that it's free to, there's a forever free, which I've noticed a lot of softwares are going away from that. There's usually like a free trial for 7 days or whatever, but the freemium model makes it so easy to not feel like I for me in my mind, I'm like, oh cool, because I already signed up for it, and it's like, okay, cool, and then I can set up my Shopify site, start tinkering if I want to start drop shipping again, and I don't have any pressure whatsoever. And as I start selling on my Shopify site, if I start doing drop shipping all over again, great. If I don't, it's no skin off my back and stuff. But
now that you know about TrackMage, do you want to start drop shipping again, maybe?
I totally, it's funny. I already signed up, and so like there's a chance that I might drop ship, and
interesting.
There's quite a chance. So I will be one of your customers for sure if I go that route, because it's very easy. It's a very easy model when you have the right tools. And so I might do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Yay. Reconverted.
So funny. Cool. Well, all right, guys. So, first off, thank you, Irina, for being on the podcast. It's so awesome to talk dropshipping and operations and everything like that. It's something super important for pretty much every business, but especially obviously with e-commerce. Guys, go check out trackmage.com. It's free to use. And, you could literally start a WooCommerce site the WooCommerce site or a Shopify site. Super easy to do. Start a business virtually for free and start growing. And by the time you are at the point where you're going to even pay for TrackMage, you are already making profit, lots of it.
May I throw some stones at the competition just a little bit? Because like I have noticed that there are quite a few new tools that are just saying, oh, tracking page, that's the best thing ever for your business. And then we're charging $100 per month recurring subscription plus for every shipment, like 4 cents per every shipment. Like, okay, yes. And if I'm just starting, like, obviously this is not going to be a fit.
Yeah. And that's the thing where I'm like, that literally, for me to go and even entertain doing drop shipping again, that's a very good model you have.
Yeah. All right.
So, but yeah, guys, go check out TrackMage. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Irina over at TrackMage. But what a cool piece of software. And it literally is one of those pieces of software that Shopify that, and almost pretty much you're done. Like it's very you have the back end and you have the front end, you have the delivery, communications, and like that's and getting reviews. I know when I was even doing stuff with Shopify at one point in time, just to have some of those things was already costing me a couple $100 in plugins or whatever those are, extension. Yeah, go check out trackmage.com. And you have anything else before we go?
Well, I would just say that like one bit of wisdom for dropshipping businesses or anyone starting in e-commerce, like even if you get threatened by others, like don't buy inventory upfront. Like, because again, if you buy those like 10,000 of units and then they are just stored in your garage or in some fulfillment center, you will not be in a good place to start a business. Like start from figuring out the sales, start from figuring out the like paid ads or whichever channels you are going to use to promote the product. Just don't start from buying like 10,000 units of inventory and then just waiting for a couple of months for them to arrive. And then, yes, I have a business. Yes, in my garage. And then like all my friends and family and everyone are going to get the product for Christmas, Thanksgiving, and other holidays as well, because like I just need to get rid of that inventory.
Totally. And I know a lot of people who've done that, and it is never pretty. And to even just get rid of the products, sometimes you can't even get rid of them.
Yes. That's why there are so many liquidation firms or some other like wholesalers that buy just all this stock that didn't sell. So yeah, like don't make that mistake. Start from something that's already going to put you in a winning position. Like when you make sales, you understand that, okay, yes, I have this customer base and I can sell them additional products, or I can just build some kind of subscription model. And that's where you start. Don't think about like investing, like even taking the bank loan or whatever to start a business in e-commerce. Like you don't have to. There are so many other avenues how you can bypass that. That barrier might have been the barrier, but maybe like a decade ago. But still, like the mindset didn't change. A lot of people, they first buy the product and they're like, oh, how can I sell the product that I don't have? Like, oh my God. It doesn't have to be like that.
I love it. Oh, thank you so much for being with us, Irina. This is super awesome. Guys, go check out trackmage.com. And if you are at all going to have any inkling of starting a drop shipping business at all, e-commerce business, this is probably the easiest way to, I mean, this is not, I didn't even have this back when I started, and I'm already just like, whoa, this is so cool. So go check out trackmage.com, get started, give it a try, and you never know where it's going to go. So that being said, this is Dean Soto. Go check out prostoolum.com and freedomin5minutes.com, and I will see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode. Cool.
Yeah. And